Hey guys, join me today as we prep for our first year of Classical Conversations Essentials. My name is Caitlin. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4. We have done Classical Conversations since we started homeschooling. This will be our 5th year. So when my oldest was 5, we joined Classical Conversations for his kindergarten year, and we have done that ever since. He is now 9 and will be starting Essentials this year. Now, I have done my first year of homeschooling. I did a video where I shared what I prepped for our first year of CC Foundations. And that video became very popular. People really liked it because I kind of condensed all the information that's out there into what worked for our family. And so that video was really popular, and every year I've continued to do that. So a lot of you have seen those videos in the past. And so this year I did my foundations prep video. That was last week, so you can go check that out if you want. But this year we are starting Essentials, and so I wanted to do an Essentials prep video to share what I'm getting ready, preparing, how I'm organizing, all that stuff for Essentials. Now, unlike my foundations prep videos, which as I've done them each year, just finished my 5th one, they're more from an area of like knowledge and experience. This one, this Essentials prep, this is like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just sharing with you what I'm starting out the year with. So this is me prepping for my first year, hopefully helping you as you prep for your first year. But we're going in this together, not knowing what we're doing. A lot of this stuff, I may change it within the first couple of weeks of us starting. I might change it at Christmas. I'm sure I'll change a lot before we start our 2nd year next year, but this is just how I've kind of collected things and put things together for my first year. And hopefully I can kind of take all the information that's out there and condense it down to you, to a video that will help you as you get ready. Okay, so let's start with what you need to have. I did a separate unboxing video when I bought my Essentials materials a couple of months ago. So you can go check that out if you want to see what stuff looks like straight out of the box from CC, because I've already kind of put things together in binders and stuff. But I'll quickly go over it with you. So things that you need to have is you need to have this teaching, writing, structure, and style. This goes with the IEW writing curriculum that you're gonna use. This like trains you on how to use IEW, okay? You need the IEW history curriculum, okay? So teacher's manual and student book. This cycle that I'm preparing for is cycle 3. A lot of this is gonna stay the same from cycle to cycle. A few things will change, such as the IEW curriculum, because it goes along with our foundations cycles. So you'll need both of those. And then you need the EEL, Essentials English Language Curriculum. And that comes in like multiple shrink wrapped packages all together. And I'm gonna show you what I did with those. But this is your language arts curriculum. This is like half of Essentials, and then this is your writing curriculum. That's like the other half. Yes, there's like a math component. It's like a small amount. You don't have to get anything for it. So as far as what we're talking about, you need all your EEL stuff, Essentials English Language Curriculum, and all your IEW, which is your U.S. history-based writing lessons, or if you're watching this in a future video, whatever that cycle we're on, okay? All right, so those are the things that you need to have. There's a couple other things that I got that I think will be helpful, but are not like necessary, required. So this is where you need to start as far as things that you purchase. Hopefully you already have those things. Now I'm going to show you what to do with them. So when they come, like these, the IEW books, they're spiral bound, they're pretty much ready to go, but everything else is like in all these shrink wrapped containers, and there's some folders, and there's some dividers, and it's just like, what am I supposed to do with all this? Okay, I have watched a million videos of what to do and everyone is different in how they do it. So I'm just gonna share, after watching all those videos and kind of gathering all the ideas, I'm gonna share what I did for myself. And like I said, this might change, but this is how it worked out for me. Also, our community, we had our Essentials orientation and our first IEW video viewing yesterday. So I waited until I went to that before I wanted to film this video, because I wanted to kind of like make sure I was kind of on track with my thinking with what other people in our community do. So anyway, now that we've done that, I'm ready to share with you guys. Okay, so that box of stuff, let's assume you've not done anything with it. We're gonna start from there. First thing you can do is the easiest, and that is this right here, your teaching, writing, structure, and style. This notebook comes with your stuff, so you don't have to get them a notebook for it. And then there's a packet of papers, and then there are the dividers. So really easy, just open everything, put your packet of papers in your notebook and put the dividers in. It's very easy to see where those are gonna go. Then this is pretty much ready. So this right here, some people call it the TWSS or the twists. This is what teaches you how to teach your child writing using IEW. And at your community, they probably own a set of DVDs, and you will get together and you will watch those together and do these viewings throughout the year. It's like part of CC's contract with IEW is that they train the parents how to use it. Okay, so this is for you. This is your reference book here. So you'll be taking this with you to the viewings. I don't know that this is something people carry to community day or not, but once you've put your papers in, you're good to go. I included some sticky notes because when we did our viewing yesterday, I took a couple of notes, and you could stick some loose leaf paper in there if you want to. But other than that, this is basically good and ready to go. So let's set that aside. One thing done. Okay, let's talk about all this essentials language curriculum. So it comes in 3 shrink wrap packages. There's one that has this like navy blue and goldish cover. This is your curriculum. This has got all of the information in it that you as the parent and the teacher need to know. Then there's going to be one that says solutions, which is basically a solutions manual that goes with this. And then there's one that's going to say like student book. I have mine together, which I'm going to show you. I don't know what it looks like, but it is not what you're going to hand your child. It is actually like a set of master copies. And I'm going to show you what I did with them. But when I got it, I thought, okay, this is going to belong to my son. It's going to go in his notebook. But the more I looked into it, the more I read it. No, that is something that you're going to keep and you're going to use it as master copies. And that is fine. It says so in, you know, the information. This is not a consumable. This is for you to keep and make copies of. Okay. So here's what I did. Okay. Everybody's gonna be different. This is what I did. So I took my English, the EEL, the main curriculum, and it comes with these navy blue tabs. So to start, I just put all the curriculum and put the tabs in the correct place, and I stuck it in a 1.5 inch binder. Okay. And so if you add nothing to it, that fits in a 1.5 inch binder. Because I'm gonna, as we go along, I'm gonna share with you what binder sizes I used, because that was something else that I didn't know what I was gonna do. As far as binders go, I have been using this Exceed brand from Walmart. They are, they feel sturdy. They're not super expensive. When I did research, the Exceed binders from Walmart and the Better binders from Staples were the 2 most recommended brands. I went to Staples and looked at those. Those feel like really good quality binders, but I did not like that they didn't have a like slip pocket in the front. It was like a pocket with like a little button that you had to undo, you know what I'm talking about, and open the flap to slide things in. And I did not like that. Though this pocket is also terrible and stuff just falls out. Like, what has happened to like notebooks with normal straight across pockets like we had? I don't even know why that was not an option. But so I didn't go with the Better binder, but that's a good option, and so is the Exceed. They're both supposed to be really good quality. So I got Exceed binders from Walmart. I'm gonna share with you the sizes as we go. Okay, so back to this. So the whole curriculum, if you add nothing to it, will fit fine in a 1.5 inch binder, which is what I have right here. I'm not labeled anything yet on the side, but I will. But what I did, because I did not want to carry around all of the curriculum plus some other things that I added, I actually took out weeks 13 through 24 and put them in a 1 inch binder. Okay, so different people do different things. Some people carry all 24 weeks with them all the time. Some people do 12 weeks. Some people do 6 weeks. Some do 3 or 4. Some even just take 1 week at a time. So that is going to depend to you on how much you want to lug around with you and how easy it is for you to remember to switch stuff in and out. Personally, I decided to go with the 12 weeks. That way it's in there. I don't have to worry about it until Christmas break. And then, you know, it's a big long chunk of time. I'll do all sorts of like refresh in my schoolroom and printing off stuff for the second semester. And I will switch out and I'll put weeks 13 through 24 in my main binder then. Okay, so this binder right here, this is weeks 13 through 24. And this will go on a shelf to be stored until after November or even after December, and I will deal with that later. So that brought me back to this. So this has, I'm going to show you some of this other stuff in a minute, but this has the introduction tabs. It's got weeks 1 through 12 and then there's some stuff at the end. So it has everything except weeks 13 through 24 that I pulled out, set in this other binder, okay? Then with your other 2 packets that are the solutions and the student guide, I put both of those in the same 1-inch binder, okay? They both fit in the 1-inch binder. And so first I just got everything into the binders so that it was like together, because I was worried I was gonna like drop papers and they were gonna go everywhere or something. So I got them in their binders, and then I kind of started moving things around to what I thought would suit me, okay? So the first thing is with the solutions. All right, so I've put some sticky notes. You have your master charts, okay? So this is what the kids are gonna be learning. They're gonna be copying. This is the master, the filled in. Then there are your editing exercise solutions. So if you do the editing exercises that CC provides in the EEL, there's the solutions. There's the analytical task sheet sentence solutions, where you'll be kind of diagramming sentences. There's the solutions to that, which there's a lot of those. All right, and then when you go to the student packet, it's the blank charts that go with the master charts that I had at the front. It's the editing exercises, not the solutions. So there's the actual editing exercises themselves that go with the solutions I just showed you. And at the very end here is the analytical task sheet blank master thing itself, okay? So they go together, right? The things that are in the solutions manual and the student book kind of go together. So I put them together in here. Now, with your sentences, so every week starting week 3, there are sentences to diagram and do stuff with. I don't know, this is new to me, I don't know, but the solutions to all those sentences were here. So based on another video that I watched, what I did was I took weeks 1 through 12 of the sentence answers, the answer keys, and I put those in with my curriculum, okay? I want all the things that I'm gonna access often to be together. I don't want a separate solutions manual sitting on my shelf. I want it all together. So in here, all right, I've got all of my tabs, and on the 24 weeks is this tab that says weekly sentences. So this comes in your EEL guide. So I didn't do anything to that. That's got the weekly sentences. This was a download from CC Connected that is the exact same thing as the weekly sentences, but it has like some indications about which ones are gonna be harder, especially for your first tour, your first year students. So I printed that off and added that in as a reference to myself. Then behind that, I put the answers to the 24 weeks of weekly sentences, okay? So the solutions manual, just that one chunk of weeks 1 through 12, I moved it here into my main curriculum binder. Weeks 13 through 24, I left in the solutions guide. So when I switch out my 12 weeks at Christmas break, I'll switch out both my sentence solutions and my actual like each week's divider, okay? To our solutions and our student guide. I am not doing the editing exercises that CC provides in the EEL. So I've just decided not to do that for our first tour. They are Bible passages. I think Bible passages are already not always great grammar anyway. And so I feel like that's just gonna be a lot for my son. And so we are not gonna do the editing exercises. We're gonna do a different one that I'm gonna show you that's on CC Connected. So the solutions and the editing exercises themselves, they are staying in here. I'm basically considering this my like master copy, don't have to access it often binder, okay? So it's got the editing exercises and the editing solutions. We're not using those. It's got weeks 13 through 24 of the sentence answers. I'll switch those after Christmas. And then the other 2 things that had, or 3 things I guess, are the master charts, the blank charts, and the analytical task sheet. Well, when we went yesterday to our orientation, the tutor already had the master charts printed out for the kids to put in their notebooks. And so if she had not, then I would have made copies of the master charts for my son's notebook and made copies of the blank charts for my son's notebook, and then left the masters in here, which I did make copies of. Well, I didn't make copies. I printed off from CC Connected, and I'll show that in a minute, the blanks for his notebook. I also made copies of the master charts for my own notebook, and I'll show you that in a second. But basically, these I don't need to touch again because I've made copies of them or we've printed off copies or whatever. So this is like the nice, fresh, good, clean that I'm gonna put up on the shelf. Now, if you don't wanna make copies or whatever, you can print these off from CC Connected in black and white, or you can just take these out of your solutions guide and put it in your curriculum, because from what I understand, we as a parent will need the charts often, and of course the students will need the charts. So this is something we need to access often. So you can decide, do you just want to take what CC has sent you in your packet and put it in here, or do you want to make copies of it and keep these like nice and pristine? I like to keep my stuff nice and fresh and clean, and I worry about things getting ripped and crumpled. So I left them in here and I made copies for myself. You can do whatever. The same with the analytical task sheet at the back. Okay. CC has these on CC Connected you can print. There are other options that people in the forum have shared, and you can buy the trivium table with it. So we have multiple options for this. So my master copy is staying in here. The only other thing I put in my solutions guide, my master notebook here with all my copies or things that I might make copies of, are a couple of things I printed off from CC Connected because I don't know if we're going to need them. It's basic spelling rules, punctuation and capitalization rules, EEL homophones, and this IEW writing process. And I'll link to all this stuff in the comments. These were all just parent files that were in the forum. Most of these are already in the curriculum guide. So this is just like an additional copy. I printed these more for my son for reference, but I don't know if he's going to need them. And so I did not put them in his binder, at least not to start, because I'm trying to keep it simple and not overwhelm him. So I put these in the back of my binder that will just go on the shelf and will not get touched until I decide I need that stuff. Okay, so that's what I did with the solutions and with the student guide. All of it is in here except for that one little chunk of the sentence solutions that I put here. That way I don't have to carry this around. So that can go on the shelf after I finish this video. All right, so back to my binder. This is my binder. It's got the curriculum in it that I already showed you. It's got the sentence solutions that I already showed you. The other things that I added were, we have this is kind of like the overview of the year. It's the combined EEL and IEW schedule. You can find this on CC Connected in the Onward, which if you're not familiar with Onward and CC Connected, that is a subscription that you have access to with your tuition fee. There is the Learning Center, which is where CC itself puts together stuff that they find helpful or they think you'll find helpful. And then there's the forum, which is where other parents put their own created resources. So I'll reference both of those. I'll link to everything on both of those. So Onward is like a digital magazine that CC puts together. It's got their own resources plus some parent created resources that they have curated that they feel like are really good and helpful. And so you can go to each week in the Learning Center, find Onward, download that, and then it's got some helpful resources. Most of the things I'm sharing are from that. And so you can print as much or as little of that as you want. So this schedule, you can find this in the Onward magazine thingy. It's the last 2 pages of it and print it. This one that I have right here is specific to our community. So our tutor gave us this one, which is slightly different from the one on the Onward. So you might want to check to see if your tutor or director has one that's specific to your community, because based on if you do Faces of History or different things, it can change. But CC has a general one in the Onward. So that's the first thing in my notebook, is just our overall schedule. Then I have all the master charts. Okay, you can print these off of CC Connected. Each Onward, you kind of have to hunt for them, but each Onward issue will have the charts that go with that week. So you can go to week 1 and it's going to have like chart A and chart B, and then you have to go to week 2 and that might be chart C, and then go hunt for week 3. It's not, I say hunt, it was not that bad. I did it yesterday for the blanks and it took me just a few minutes. So you can just print those off yourself. Or like I said, you can use the master charts that came with this and not do any printing or copying. I wanted them to be in the green, because if you print them off from Onward, they're going to be black and white. And from what I understand, the green is significant because if you have a first tour student, which I do, the green is what they're supposed to learn. So I wanted that for myself, for my own reference. So I made actual copies, color copies of the masters that came in my solutions guide so that it would look exactly like that. But if you are not concerned about the green, you can just print them from Onward and not have to make any copies. So it's really just whatever's easier for you. So I have all of the master charts in page protectors. I have a master copy of the analytical task sheet in a page protector, and that's at the beginning. So basically I took the two things from the solutions guide that I thought I would need. I took the three things from the solutions guide, which was our weekly sentence solutions for weeks 1 through 12, and the master charts and the analytical task sheet. I actually moved the solutions over, the sentence solutions, but then I made copies of or printed off from Onward the charts and the analytical task sheet so I can keep my nice fresh copies here. So that is what I added to the front. And then the only thing that I have added in the back is I have answer keys to a set of worksheets that I printed off, that I'm going to show you that. So all that, the actual, if you just do the curriculum itself without the added sentences, because that's this little chunk here, the sentence solutions, this will fit in a 1-inch binder. However, if you're going to add things like I did, like the sentences and like the master charts and page protectors, that takes up more room. I found that a 1.5-inch binder gave me a little bit more room. So my main binder that I'm gonna carry around is 1.5 inches, but a lot of people carry around 2-inch, 3-inch binders. So this is still, I feel like, pretty small on the spectrum, okay? So that's that. And yep. All right. Next thing I want to show you is a couple other things I printed for my own reference. Now, this is something that I made when I did my foundations prep that has like an overview of the foundations year. You can see my other video for that. Because I have this and I use this kind of as like my bird's eye view main picture thing for foundations, I also put some essential stuff in here because I know I'll carry this around with me. If I did not have this, these things I'm going to show you, I would have just put in the front of my curriculum guide here so that it would all be together. Okay, so I'd have it all in one rather than two things. But since I already have this for foundations, I added some essential stuff too. All right, so what I have in here is okay. There was this great, it's a bookmark, it's essentials in about an hour a day, and it just kind of lays out what you can do and how long to spend on it for essentials each day. There were 2 bookmarks to a sheet. It was obviously like for a tutor who was gonna print them and maybe laminate them and hand them out to their families. So I just made a copy, sliced one side off because I didn't need double time, and put it in my little binder here. The next thing, this is that same yearly overview that our tutor and our director gave us yesterday. I just made a copy of it, so I have one in my binder and one here. Do I need 2 of them? Probably not, but I'm not sure which of those I'm going to reference more often, so I put it in both places. After the first few weeks, I'm sure I'll figure out which way I like it better, and next year just put it in one place. The next thing I found, okay, there's multiple of everything on CC Connected. I spent so much time over the last week or so combing through everything and trying to figure out what I actually want to use. And so hopefully that information will be helpful to you. There are multiple like checklists for you or for your student that are these like planning sheets. This one is in the Onward. This is like the official CC one that they put out. But there's other options. After looking at all of them, this is the one that I chose. It's on CC Connected in the forum. I will link to it. It has all of the EEL and all of the IEW stuff all in one document. It was the easiest for me to understand. It was the most comprehensive of all the things. And so this is the one that I went with. Each week is on one page. So here's week 1, and you can see it has like the spelling list and the homophones and the spelling rule and the IEW vocabulary and a kind of a checklist, not like a daily checklist, but just like an overall checklist of what to do. So this one was my favorite. And so I just printed all 24 weeks, week 1, week 2, like front and back, so that I would have these at a glance. So in my little at a glance folder that I made here, I've got the overview of the year and then the weekly sheets. Again, if I did not have this already made for foundations, then I would have just put those things in my guide so that all my reference sheets would be together. One other one that I liked that I'm going to show you is this one right here in green and purple. This is, I think it was called like a lesson plan type thing, and it takes all that information and kind of breaks it down day by day. It has page numbers on it. I don't like this one as much as that first one, but I do think it's still a good reference. This was a PDF, that was a Word document. If I had figured out without taking a lot of time how to mesh them together, I would have printed week 1 of what I just showed you, the planning sheet, and like on one page on the front, and then week 1 of this purple and green lesson plan on the back. That way I could have looked at both of them. But I didn't know how to do that, and so I just printed all of the ones from the Word document since that was my favorite. And I'll probably just reference this on my computer unless partially through the year I decide, oh, this is amazing, because we are not doing the same editing. I'm not planning on us using CC's spelling, and so like quite a bit of this I don't necessarily need. So I'll link this so you can check it out for yourself, but I felt like I didn't like it quite as much as the other, so I printed the other one. All right, so I believe that is all my reference stuff that I want to show. All right, next thing we'll talk about real quick, because it doesn't take much, is the IEW stuff. So teacher manual itself, good to go. There was not anything that I felt like I needed to do. Now I will say, check out this front blue page. You have access to some downloads, and this gives you instructions. I have not looked at it. I don't know what all the download options are, other than I did look at one thing while we were doing our video viewing yesterday. There's some printable like posters for your wall. But past that, I haven't really looked at it, but you do have access to some downloads with this blue sheet. But otherwise, with the teacher manual, nothing that I needed to do to that. With the student book, when you buy it, the back of it has a chunk of blue cardstock vocabulary cards. I went ahead and I tore those out and cut them and put them in a box. A lot of people just leave them in there and have their kids tear them out and cut them each week, or have their kid do it all at the beginning. But I did it myself. I just wanted to get it done and not have to think about it. And it was like, in this sea of things that are very uncertain, because I don't know how I'm going to like things, that was something that I could kind of control, like, and feel like I was being productive by cutting out the vocabulary cards. I know that's weird, but if you're my personality, that's going to resonate with you. And if you're not my personality, then just ignore it. You can just leave those in there and let your kid do them as it comes as part of the lesson. But I wanted to just like keep things simple and not have to worry about that past before we start. So I went ahead, tore them out, cut them with that paper cutter, put them in this box that I'll talk about in a second. And that is all that I did for the manual. Now, what I wanted to do was I wanted to take this apart and take each lesson and put it with the week in my son's binder that I'm going to show you, because that way, like, I'm just trying to reduce things that we're having to carry, things that we're having to get out, things we're having to shuffle around. But I asked him, I tried, you know, I've been trying, especially as he's getting older, to give him more like of a voice in how we do things. And so I asked him, do you want me to cut out, so like the week 1 material would be pulled out of here and put in a binder, or do you want to keep it all as one book? He wants to keep it all as one book. So for now, that's what we're going to do. So he will take this to community day. We will use it, you know, during the week for his lessons, separate from his binder. So I have not done anything else to this. Now, next year or halfway through the year, we may find that I do want to take it apart and put just the chunk of papers that goes with 1 week in with the rest of the stuff to keep it all together. But we're going to wait and see what he thinks and what I think about that. All right, so that's kind of all the prep that I needed to do for myself. Now let's talk about his binder and what he's going to take with him to community day and what we're going to do at home. All right, so our community provides several things: a whiteboard, just a notebook for notebook paper, these portable walls, which are like reference sheets that go along with the IEW curriculum. Most of this stuff is printable, either in your TWSS thing or in off of their website. You can print these things off if you don't have this, but everybody says it's really great. So even if our community had not provided this, I probably would have purchased this. For now, he just has a 1-inch binder. It's another one of those Exceed binders. And he's got this trivium table that CC sells. Okay, they sell 4 of them. This one's the analytical task sheet one, and then there are some other ones that have the charts on them. I just bought this one to start with because several people said they liked it. I've put the charts in page protectors, and we'll kind of see how it goes. I don't want to buy all 4 of these trivium tables with all the charts right now. I want to kind of see how we're doing with the different options. So he does have the analytical task one. I don't even know if we needed to get, I know we did not need to get this. You can absolutely do it without this. I don't know if this is something we're going to prefer over putting it in the binder that I'm going to show you in a second. Like I said, like, we're just kind of muddling through and figuring it out. He does have that in his binder to take with him. He's got a pouch. This was provided. It's got a marker, 3 dice, and an eraser. This is for use in class. All right, so he has these charts. They have to look at the charts and copy the charts or learn the charts. That's like a big part of essentials, right? So there's different ways you can do this. Right now we have these in page protectors with the master here and the blank one here. The masters were provided yesterday at our orientation, but if you don't have yours provided at orientation, you can print this and this off from Onward. So you can either make copies from your solutions manual / student guide that came with your stuff, or you can just print them straight from the Onward. So I find printing to be easier than sitting at my copier and copying, you know, whatever, opening the thing. So I printed, well, these were given to us. I would have printed them otherwise. And I printed the solutions from Onward. So I just spent some time yesterday doing that. So those are in page protectors, and I printed all the charts, but I, just like with my binder, I only put the charts that we need up through week 12 in his binder. I'm trying to reduce what he has to carry, what he has to sort through, what he has to keep up with, because this is a lot of change for him. This is his first time to really have to like keep up with a whole bunch of stuff. And so I felt like, you know, you don't even have to do all 12 weeks. Again, just like with your own binder, you could do less. But for me, I felt like 12 weeks at a time means I know that we're good through Christmas, and then it won't be a switch like it is with my other things. It will be adding in the other ones after Christmas. So he has the charts, the master, and the blank for the first 12 weeks. And he will use a dry erase marker or a wet erase marker to copy those. Now, what I wanted to do, because I love to spiral bind things, was I wanted to print them, laminate them, and spiral bind them so we have all the charts in like a little thing like this. But 1, he was like, no, I want them in my binder, and 2, until I figure out is he going to want to do them verbally? Is he going to want to learn the songs? Is he going to enjoy copying them? Is this binder going to be a problem because it's flopping all over the place? Until I kind of figure out what works for us, I'm not going to spend a ton of time printing, laminating, spiral binding, all that stuff to make that. Now I might in a few weeks, I might over Christmas, I might before next year decide to do that with my charts. But for now, we're just going with the most simple method, which was page protectors and these charts that were already provided for us. So that's kind of like some different options. You can do page protectors and dry erase. You can print them off and not put them in page protectors, and so they have to copy and then just get a new sheet of paper every time. You can get the trivium tables that have the charts, that I don't own those, or you could spiral bind them and laminate them. So it's kind of it depends on you and your kid. And so that's something that you'll have to figure out, and something I'll have to figure out. The next thing I put in his binder is a copy of the weekly sentences to go with the analytical task sheet. Now, he may not need these because I've printed something else off that I'll show you, but I went ahead and put these in his binder. This is a copy of the sentence page that I have in my curriculum, but someone typed it up and put it on CC Connected, so I just printed it from there rather than making a copy of what I had. Like I said, I prefer to print rather than make copies. The next thing is the analytical task sheet. Yes, he already has that in the trivium table, but I also found one that somebody made on CC Connected that was like an expanded version of it. So more space to write, more space to diagram. And so I went ahead and printed that and put it in page protectors. That way he can try both and see if he likes the trivium table version of it or he prefers the like more expanded version. He may never use this and we may take this out in a few weeks, but I just wanted to have it there as an option. And then I have a list of the IEW vocabulary. I don't know that he needs this or will reference this at all, so I may take it out later, but I just put it in there just to have it in there. Okay, now those are the things that he needs to take with him to community day, are his charts, his analytical task sheet, and then those things I showed, like the dice and the marker and the whiteboard and those kind of things. So check with your tutor, your director, as far as what you're expected to take with you. I talked to him about, does he want to have an at-home binder and a take to CC binder, or does he want to have it all together? So he actually said he'd rather have an at-home binder and a take to CC binder. However, as I started putting things together, I realized the stuff we're doing at home that wouldn't be taken to CC is very, very small. And right now, I don't think we need to have multiple binders. So I'm putting it all in one binder together. I may regret that, we may change that later, but for right now, that's what we're doing. Now, these are labeled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Ignore that. Some people do that and they put their child's work behind their tabs, which if you've watched my foundations prep videos, I have done that in the past for our foundations worksheets. I'm not doing that this year. This is actually, I just have not relabeled it yet. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. I did 5 weeks because I had 5 tabs. I'll probably end up getting a different number of tabs, so it makes more sense. But what I just put behind what should be the week 1 tab, it says Monday, is the few pages that I printed off for him to work on. I looked at so many. There are some great workbooks and worksheets and stuff on CC Connected. There's just a lot. So what I ended up doing was I printed like 1 week of each of them so that I could lay them all out. Here they are, most of them. So I could lay them out and can compare them, because like looking at them on the computer and switching from one to another I couldn't do it. So I just laid them out and looked at them. A lot of them were like duplicates almost exactly, so I was able to eliminate that. Several of them were 4th edition, not 5th edition, which is what we're on now. A lot of people said, oh, the 4th edition is fine. There's only a little bit of change. You know, it's not a big deal, which probably is true. But since it is our first year and everything is new, I didn't want to also be trying to adapt our worksheets to make it fit with the 5th edition. So I ended up going with only the worksheets that I knew were 5th edition because they were in, sorry, my camera keeps sliding down. They were in the Onward. So what he has, I'm actually gonna go to week 3 because that's the first week that they have sentences to diagram. So there's these, there's either 3 or 4 worksheets in the Onward. They're Sandra Homemaker, I'm pretty sure, is the one that made these, but CC put them in the official Onward magazine. So I printed off these. This like takes what they're learning in the EEL guide and on the charts and applies it. And so I really wanted him to have some things like that. Now, will this be too much for him? I don't know. So many people say, you know, don't have your first tour student do anything, or just have them do the charts, or, you know, don't add any extra work. So we may scrap this later, but for now, this is what we have. I'll link there. Like I said, they're in the Onward, but I'll link to that as well. Then I mentioned we're not doing the editing that is provided in the curriculum. That is the long Bible passages. It just seemed like way too much, especially for our first year. So in the Onward are these history sentences. It is the history sentence from Foundations, from that week of Foundations. And so it's already something they're familiar with, and they just edit that. And so this is what I've put in there for him to do each week for editing. We are also probably going to add in something like Fix It Grammar for editing, but I'm not starting the year off with that, and I'll just kind of see how it goes. All right. And then in the Onward magazine thing, they have an analytical task sheet with each of the sentences already written there. So where I had his sentences already typed out by week, you don't have to do that if you print these off. Now, we have so many options. We have this for him to do his sentences on, or we have this one that I printed and put in page protectors, or he can do them straight on these pages I printed off. I don't know what he's going to prefer, so I gave him all 3 options. And I think I printed the first 6 weeks worth. After we get like through the first several weeks, we'll kind of decide which of those 3 does he actually like to do, and then going forward we'll just have 1. So each of the sentences for each week is already printed on its own task sheet paper. So we're just gonna see. So that's it for each week, are the 3 to 4 worksheets that apply the EEL, the history editing, and the task sheets that are already have a sentence written on it, printed out. That way that's already done for us. And that's all we're going to start with. That may be too much. I really don't think it's going to be not enough and I need to add stuff, but we'll just kind of play it by ear. There were some things like these crossword puzzles for the vocabulary that go with the IEW vocabulary. My son hates crossword puzzles and word searches, hates them. And those were like the main two things that they had every week for the IEW vocabulary. So I didn't print those off. We're not doing any worksheets for vocabulary, and we will just like quiz the cards and see how that goes, because I just knew he was not going to do those worksheets if I printed them off. So I was not going to spend the time. So that's his binder. We've got the charts for him to copy. We have the analytical task sheet, a couple of versions of it because I don't know what we're going to like. And then I have his weekly worksheets for just a couple weeks at a time. And we're going to see how that goes. We're going to see, is it too cumbersome to take it? You know, how do we do with it at home? If at some point he decided he wanted the IEW lesson also, I would take that out, cut it out, hole punch it, and put it in week 1, week 2, week 3. And so then everything would be together, both his EEL stuff and his IEW stuff. But right now he wants them separate, and so we're gonna do that. And like I said, he wants his daily work also separate for at home, but I just don't want a whole nother notebook to keep up with right now. So we're gonna try it this way, and then after a few weeks, we'll reconvene and see. Okay, this is way longer than I thought it was gonna be, and I'm sorry. I thought since it was like not a ton of, I thought since it was my first year and I hadn't done like a ton of extra stuff that I wouldn't have a million things to say and it would be a short video, but here we are, and it was not. So sorry if you were wanting a short video. A very few other things that I did. I looked at so many things. I saved so many things to my computer. There were so many cool things out there, but I'm just trying to pare it down and keep it really simple and not make a ton of things that we may not use or do a ton of things that may not work for us. And so I'm keeping it small, and then I will add or change or whatever throughout the year or next year. So I did not do a whole lot of extra past the, like, just dividing up the stuff that CC sent, adding a few worksheets. I didn't do much, but I'll show you the few things I did. My son loves Legos, and I found this chart A. Chart A is the first chart, and it's the one that everybody says, like, your first year, the goal is to just master chart A. That's like a huge focus for the first year, is to master chart A. Don't worry so much about the other charts. So I found this one that just had little Lego people on it. It was cute. So I printed it off, and I'm gonna hang that up in our schoolroom. I just thought, you know, since this is something, since this is something we're going to be referencing a ton, this was just cute. So I did that. I'll link to this. That's what CC connected. Now these are super extra, probably not necessary, but so cute. These are like little miniatures of some of the charts, not all of them, but some of the charts. This was a file on CC Connected. It's black and white, but the creator showed how she had highlighted the things that were in green. And like I mentioned on the master copy, the things that are in green are the things that a first year student would like need to focus on memorizing. So I just printed them off in black and white. I highlighted the things in green. I just pulled out my master charts and matched it up. And then I laminated them and cut them out and put them on this little key ring. So they're like this tiny set of some of the charts. It doesn't have all of them, but I guess it's like probably the main ones, I guess. Anyway, will we use this? I don't know. Do we need it? I don't know. But I thought it'd be, you know, maybe good to keep in the car or on the go if we want to work on the charts. I don't know. So we'll see. This may totally be not necessary, but it was cute and I enjoyed making that. So we'll see. The other thing was, all right, I got this box from Dollar Tree. I put the IEW vocabulary cards that I told you I cut out of the back of the IEW book. And then I found a set of flashcards on CC Connected that cover like the grammar definitions in the EEL curriculum. And so I thought, you know, since that's something that I feel like he's not going to know easily, we're gonna have to work on that having a set of flashcards would be good. Now these flashcards were created to go with the 4th edition, and while for the worksheets I tried to avoid anything 4th edition just so that I didn't have to do a whole lot of brain work. For the flashcards it wasn't as big of a deal. They are labeled with which week they go with, and from what I understand the definitions are all gonna be the same, it's just the weeks might change. So I'll just check my guide, and if some of them, like I know I believe that in week 3 in the 4th edition, they did nouns and pronouns, and in the 5th edition, those are separate. So this says week 3, what is a pronoun? I'll just cross out that 3 and put whatever week that goes with now, which maybe it's 4. I don't know. I haven't looked ahead. Anyway, this is a set of flashcards. I just printed them on cardstock, laminated them, cut them out because I feel like this is something he is going to need to work on. So past that, I did not do any other fancy printouts and laminating. There is a flip book that if you've been around foundations, if you've seen my videos or seen other posts that people do, you know, the flip books for foundations are very popular. There is a flip book for essentials that is really cute and colorful and pretty, but I decided not to print those right now because we have the charts in the page protectors. I've got the charts on the keychain. I don't know that we need to add in yet another version of the charts right now. We may later. There are also some really cute chart puzzles that somebody made where you print them out. And y'all know, if you've seen my foundations videos, I love a good like Velcro activity. I like hands-on stuff like that. But I didn't print them out yet. That might be something that I do, you know, later on in this semester or over Christmas break. I've actually made a note on my phone of things that I might want to do later, and I can reference that later. But there's some cute puzzles to help, you know, the kids build the charts if they don't want to sit and copy them. So that's something that we might do in the future, but I'm not spending a lot of time printing those off now. I'm just gonna wait and get our feet wet. So anyway, that is everything. As far as what we will take with us to CC each week, I will take this binder that has my curriculum in it. I guess I need to take the teacher guide for IEW. I'm assuming so. Nobody has said specifically that I remember, but I'm sure I'll need to take these 2 things. And then I already take this because that's got my foundations and my essentials overview in it. So I'll take those things. On weeks that we have our viewing, I'll take the TWSS, but I don't think that's something I need to take every week from what I understand. The rest of these will live at home. And then my son will take his IW student thing and his binder that we've made. And that's kind of what we'll start with. And then we'll see, is it too much? Is it not enough? I'm trying to keep from us having to haul all the things with us. So I hope that was helpful. I hope seeing what I've put together helps you. If you have other resources that you want to share, please feel free to comment and leave them. But yeah, so I may be back in a few weeks or a few months doing an update video or something. But for now, this is what we're starting with. This is how we're starting the year. It was as simple as I could try to make it, and, you know, have the things I thought we'd use, but not make a whole ton of extra stuff for us. And yeah, we'll see. So I hope that helps. I hope you have a great first year of essentials. And we will chat later. Bye.